Hey guys, welcome back to Mo's Game Table. Today we're going to take a look inside Stout Hearts, Battle in the Hedgerows. This is a game designed by Jay Ward and is published by Tiny Battle Publishing. Just got this in the mail, so I wanted to share a quick preview of the game with you and take a look at the components and talk a little bit about the game. This is a Ziploc game, so there's no back of the box, but I'm going to give you the blurb as to what the game is all about. Stout Hearts is a solitaire game based on Jay Ward's popular The Battle for Ramadi and Way system. As Brigadier, your job is to push through the enemy defenses in exceptionally difficult terrain, utilizing not only your infantry platoons, but also tank, mortar, artillery, and machine gun assets. Intelligence on the enemy is limited. Are they SS? Are they Tigers? How many 88s do they have? Will they fight or will they run? Now is the time to find out. And in this game, you are taking on the role of the commander of the 5th Battalion Wessex Regiment. You are tasked with breaking through the German front line in coordination with the other 2 battalions of the brigade. You control your 4 infantry companies and supporting assets allocated to you by division. The game rules will control the German forces. So that is a little quick background as to what the game's all about. So like I said, not a box game, so we're just going to dive right into taking a look at the components individually. So we start off with our rules, the counter sheets, all in a bag for you, our map, our asset sheet, and then our player aid card. So let's set up the map and take a closer look at the game. And here's a look at the map that comes with the game. It is a nice small footprint map, just what we see most of the time from Tiny Battle Publishing, especially their solitaire games, so it's very manageable on anyone's table. We have a left, center, and right location, and the hex rows are numbered from 1 through 12. You start off on the northern end of the map, and you will work your way through the southern end. Various types of terrain we've got here. We've got hedgerows, we've got wheat fields, stone farmhouses, we've got some wood and stone farmhouses, we've got hills. These are all going to be varying levels of terrain. We've also got 2 streams that are going to run through, 3 actually, if you see the branch off there at the top that you're going to be dealing with as well. And each of these pieces of terrain varies from level 0, which is the open areas, through level 4, which are the hills. You'll also see the various British victory point locations that are along the map here. Those are all going to count towards your victory, which could be as soon as game turn 16, or it could go on a little further depending on your die roll. You roll a 1d6 on a 1 through 4, you will continue on. A 5 or 6 will end the game. So there is a 1 in 3 chance that you're going to end the game at any point past game turn 16. So that puts you up against a bit of a clock, adds a little bit of stress. I like that. Make sure that you're as efficient as possible getting through these German locations and getting those victory points. And each of these hexes is between 150 to 200 yards in size. Next, we'll take a look at the play rate that comes with the game. On the left-hand side, we have the sequence of play, breaking down all of the steps in your sequence of play. Company strength point and the weather tables, along with the barrage table. British unit move within 2 hexes, line of sight unsuppressed German positions, and then the suppression fire table and the flank progress table. On the back, we have the assault routine, counter-assault routine, and the counterattack procedure. Next, we have the battalion deployment board. At the top, we have the start line for left, center, and right, your forming up place for the units that are going to go out into the field. Allocated assets box for A Company through D Company, as well as Dorset Company, battalion headquarters, and then your assets available, expended, and destroyed, your initial strength, rally roll, company track, your game turn track, and then the victory point track at the bottom right. Next, we'll take a look at the counter sheets that come with the game, and we have German forces on the left-hand side and then a bunch of different administrative counters on the right-hand side. We've got artillery stocks as well as mortar stocks. But on the left-hand side here, these German units are going to be hidden. This is what you're going to see initially, and then when they're revealed, you'll see both the type and strength of the unit. I really like hidden counters and the tension they bring to games because you never know what it is you're going to be salting into, whether it's a machine gun position, a rifleman position, or if you're going to run into a tank. Pretty fun stuff. On the next sheet, we have more of the German counters as well as your British counters on the right-hand side. And on the last counter sheet, we have the remainder of the German forces, the British forces, as well as your support assets. And lastly, we'll take a look at the rules. This is a 15-page full-color rulebook. Inside of the front cover, we have the table of contents listing out all the rules and their associated page numbers. Get our introduction, and then the game information where it's going to break down all the components that we've already looked at for you. Key game concepts, unit status, German zones of control, British lines of communication, occupying German positions, German counterattacks, cut off German position hexes, line of sight, stacking, and then your British ground assets. Then we have playing the game, game outline, setting up the game. It's all spelled out for you. German deployment, and then your detailed sequence of play, which we saw is already on the player aid card, but it's going to give you the explanation in detail here in the rules. Resolve your combat actions, German counterattack phase, line of communications check, flank progress, operations interface, and then the victory determination, victory conditions here on page 9. So you saw the rules really start on page, what is it, page 3 is where you start getting into your unit status. And then the rules end on page 9. So a very short, easy to grok rule book. Jay's games are like that. They have very short, concise rules that you can just get right on the table and play in. I think that's fantastic. Breaks down your victory levels. If you get less than 49 points, you're definitely not going to win. If it's 50 or more, you're going to get varying levels of victory. Then you have your unit charts, which are going to explain to you all the different units. If you're familiar with Jay's other games, this is going to be very familiar to you. German unit descriptions, and then we have historical notes, designer's notes, and a bibliography, as well as a look at the map on the final page. And on the back, we have the terrain effects chart. And that is a look at everything you get inside of Stout Hearts, Battle in the Hedgerows. This is a game designed by Jay Ward and published by Tiny Battle Publishing. Well, if you've played either of Jay's previous 2 games, Battle for Ramadi or Way, you're going to feel right at home because he uses the same system, and of course he tweaks it for each game to fit the scenario a lot better. But these are not hard games to grok. They are really streamlined, easy to get on the table, and as you can see, small footprint. All you're really going to need is space for this map and the battalion deployment board. Other than that, you're really not going to need a lot of extra space. You can hold this in your hand. It's very small. So this is something you can actually take with you on the road, or you can play at home. Very easy game to get into, like what, 8-9 pages of rules, and they play fast. The thing I like about it is he takes a simple system and still makes it challenging and difficult to win, because you've got to coordinate all your assets, your support assets along with your ground assets, and advance your line. You have to take those victory point locations, but you don't want to leave your guys out and get them isolated because you have to maintain your lines of communication back to your side. It could be very easy for you to get a little ahead of yourself and then you end up cut off. So you have to make sure you advance together so that way you don't leave any leaks in your line, any holes in your line. That was one of the things with Way that was difficult, is you can get those infiltrators behind you, and that could break your line of communication on top of just being a real pain in your ass because they're behind your lines. But I think that's really cool, and it's really fun, especially being that you don't know what you're going to be up against. You're going in there figuring, oh, this is going to be just an infantry unit, and it turns out it's a tank. Do you have the assets to help there? Do you have the ground assets that are going to be able to take them on? You don't always know that, and that is where the challenge lies for the battalion commander in the real field, and then you here on the virtual battlefield on your tabletop. And I think that's really fun, and it's really interesting, and it's definitely engaging. Like I said, streamlined game, easy to get into, and a lot of fun to play. So definitely check these out, and look forward to a future video where I'll share my final thoughts on this game with you after I've played. Well, I hope that helps you guys out if you'd be curious about this one. If you have any comments or questions, post them down below. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you next time.